What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Tony and Nation, and I'm back with another video. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year. Happy 2021. As you can tell, today's video is a little different. The setting is different. I'm sitting down. You feel me? So I thought it's only right that I tell you guys about how 2020 was for me, right? Considering that this channel, we talk about everything. We talk about, Anyway, short story time on how 2020 was for me.
Start having what you ain't had and they'll look at you different. But it don't matter, I'm in my bag, it's getting bigger and bigger. Now the Range Rover class sport and stamps on my passport. Never know what tripping, I got everything I asked for. And I hear robbing, I try to tell that nigga.
Most of you may know from last year's video that I first dropped, I started out in Kenya. January I was in Kenya. Kenya was fun for me. I was hanging out with family. Everything was good. You feel me? January was amazing. I was with fam. We really enjoyed it together. New Year's came, just like we usually do in Kenya. Went to church, enjoyed ourselves, had fun, traveled, visited a bunch of family that I hadn't seen in 10 years. Everything was good. Everything was good until. So let's fast forward a little bit to like the 21st, mid January actually. My mom was going back. I was with her and my sister in Kenya, and they had just finished their trip and had to go back, and I had another week left in Kenya to enjoy myself and meet a bunch of people that I was looking forward to, but that did not happen. This is when 2020 turned and became something totally different. I know it was like that for everyone. It wasn't their best year. It was, some people really enjoyed 2020. It was 50-50 for me, and I'll tell you why. So my mom came back and along with my sister, and as soon as she landed at SFO in San Francisco, she had a cardiac arrest. Her blood clot went all the way to her lungs and shut stuff down. And man, it was crazy because I was in Kenya. I got the call and I was told that she's not breathing. She's just been rushed to the hospital with the ambulance and all these things. And I was like, I started shaking. I felt, cold. My legs felt cold. I had all these things going on. I started crying. I was at some friend's house. So, luckily, they were good because as soon as I started crying, they came and embraced me. And I literally cried for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I've never cried in my life like that. It was the craziest thing. And then that day, we were supposed to be going somewhere to where the guy that I was with worked. But the whole time, I just kept thinking about my mom and coming back to the States. This time I was in Kenya, remember? So I was just thinking about coming back to the States. I just want to come and kick it with them. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to do anything else in Kenya. Like, because I'm close with my mom. So it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. So as soon as I came, she was in the ICU. I'm gonna make it fast so I don't have to go through the whole stories. If you guys want a video on that story, I could always do a video on specifically that, but this is just a highlight of 2020. Came, she was in the hospital, she was in the ICU. Man, it was tough seeing her there. It was, man, I don't even know how to describe it, to be honest with you guys. But she spent about 2 months in the hospital. So January, February, until like March, I think March right before her birthday, I think it was the 24th, that she got out of the hospital and still had to do like a bunch of physical activity to get back. She was in ICU for so long and was just sitting in the bed for so long, and her organs weren't working. So that's what happened for that long and why she had to spend time at the hospital that long. And then as soon as she gets out, right before she gets out actually, the coronavirus becomes a big thing. So we're not even able to see her at the hospital because of the pandemic that had just started, the virus, and they were so afraid of us like bringing it in, with her condition and all that. So it was crazy. And I think for me around this time is when things took a turn to the wrong direction. So one night as I was sleeping, I had this pain like on my head right here. And then like I woke up at night, and then my heart was beating like super fast for no reason. Like I had never had anything like this. So I actually thought I was having a heart attack. So I called 911, and I started shaking, and I actually even thought like myself, I thought I had the same thing like my mom had, where I was sitting on the plane for too long maybe, and then like that's why blood wasn't moving, and that's why I'm having a heart attack. And then 911 actually came, they checked me, everything was good. They did realize like my heartbeat was a little high, but it was coming down. And that happened for the first time. It happened again. Later on, I was at the movies with a friend, And the same thing happened to me. And I actually this time I was going to Kaiser because I was like, I have to go. Like the ground felt like it was spinning. Like things were just like, I felt dizzy and I had all these symptoms like going on, and I had never had them before. So I was like, oh man, this is another heart attack. This is it. And I started going towards Kaiser, and as I was going, my heart kept increasing. And I thought like, dang, this is it, right? And I called 911. They came, we had to stop somewhere, and they came, checked my vitals, everything. And they said I was good, but I wasn't good. So I had to go actually to Kaiser. I ended up going to Kaiser because if they were to take me, they were going to charge me expensively. So my friend took me there. I got checked. I got blood tests. Same thing with the first time. The first time I did go to the hospital and I got checked, and they said everything was good. My heart felt good because they did the EKG and everything was good. But from that moment, I started having all types of symptoms. I started having like back pain. I used to have like cramps, like muscles spasms on my body, like everywhere. My legs, pins and needles. Like this was over like a long time. Like I had chronic pain for a long time. So, but before that, when I was having like the muscle spasms and all that, my back pain, I really thought it was mattress I was sleeping in. So what did I do? I bought a mattress. Before that, I started sleeping on the couch, thinking maybe it was just my mattress. Bought a new mattress, it didn't change. I got a new pillow, it didn't change. And like this was a period of like from like March till now. Like I just been having like all types of symptoms, only to later on realize that I was having the two things that I had were panic attacks, and I had never had those in my life before. And it's just because of like trauma and stress and everything that was going on subconsciously. It really had a toll on my body, and it was crazy. And I just felt like I needed to talk about these things because people go through these things, and like nobody talks about it. Like I didn't know what it was. I didn't know, like when I told people like, yeah, we prayed about it and all that stuff, and like I just kept having positive thoughts, but I didn't understand what was going on until I started doing research. But when I started Googling, Google is a bad thing. I started Googling things, and I really thought like I had cancer. I thought I was having a stroke. I thought like literally everything there, I literally thought I had, because one day, like when a symptom would end, then something else would start. And it was a cycle. So, and that's what anxiety does. So I realized this is more of self-diagnosing myself, because once the doctor said that I was good, then there was no problem with me. Then I kind of realized that that's what it was. And I learned a lot. Like you can be stressed. You can be thinking about things that you don't know. Because I started having problems with sleeping. And I sometimes, like when I would go to sleep, man, I would shake like internally before I sleep. Like I'd be up till 6 a.m., like not being able to sleep. Yeah, so some nights I wasn't able to sleep. I would just like be up till 6 a.m. because I can't sleep. Like I'm trying to sleep, but I had insomnia for so long. I had so much going on with myself that, man, at some point, like I was like, what the heck is wrong with me? Like what is going on? And I really thought, like, if sometimes I would go to sleep and I would be like, this is my last day. Like, this is it. This is it. And then I would wake up and I'd be like, what the heck? But every time I woke up, there was something wrong with my neck. There was something like, I even thought like it's because of my burn scars, like right here. Because, I have a scar right here, and sometimes it like kind of pulls because with gravity. And I was like, man, like maybe that's what it is. I started reaching out to like my old doctor to try and get surgery for that. But I realized like whenever something came up and I kind of dealt with it, something else came up. And I was like, nah, there's no way this is one specific thing if it's always going to keep switching. So this time, with the pandemic hitting, I wasn't working because, I'm a photographer, videographer. So work wasn't like as available, as it usually is. And this was supposed to be my biggest year. I was really hoping on buying a house this year. I was really hoping on, just doing a lot. Like I had a schedule, and like all that stuff was messed up. Even till today, like another thing I want to talk about that I started doing, I started going to a chiropractor. I went to one, and then in the middle of that I was like, nah, they're not helping me, they're not doing the right thing, and I switched them to another chiropractor. And with that I was like, you know what, I need an acupuncture. Like I started having acupuncture done where they put the little needles in me, and sometimes I'd feel like maybe that's helping. Then it was back and forth. And this year I spent so much money on health, because I bought a mattress. I used to go, and whenever the doctor would be like, oh, buy this for the pain, do this for the muscles, do all these things, like I would buy, like whatever they said to do, I was doing that. And I was like, at the same time, I wasn't making like cash, and I was like spending a bunch of money. So for me, it was like everything was just wrong. Like everything that, it was even affecting my mind, because I'd be like, what's going on? Like, why can't they see that I have a problem and there's something going on with me? But I think after time, just realizing like what trauma can do, and I started researching on that, then I kind of realized like, yeah, it probably is trauma that's affecting me, and it's so like deep in me, because it was affecting my nerves, like to where like I mentioned, I was having chronic pain like in my body, where I would wake up and like inside there's pain everywhere, pins and needles. Man, it was bad. I never really talked about it, even with like my friends. I would just see, this another thing with anxiety. Like whenever something would happen, like I would check in with my friends and be like, let's say I have a heart, my heart is racing, and I'd be like, hey, does your heart race? Or I would ask stuff like that when it got a little hot or extra hot, because when you have anxiety, like you start being hypersensitive, like you feel everything extra. So I'd be like, yo, is it hot or is it just me? And I would ask my friends to just reassure me. And then whenever, like, I remember there was this one time we went to San Francisco for fun, like this year, right? Well, in 2020. And then like we ran, and then the next day I was so sore. It was so bad, because that's another thing I started having. Like when my muscles would just like contract, I would be so sore. But this time I was extra sore because we ran, and I had to check with like one of my friends, be like, was it just me, bro, that was sore? Am I the only one that's sore? Or are you sore? And then when they said that they were sore, I was like, oh, that's good. But mine took like 5 days to get better. My back was like killing me. It was so bad, and I never wish this on anyone. But I just want to share with this with you guys, just to share that I feel like there is, like with these things, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, right? Because even now, like I'm not 100% better. I'm not where I want to be, Like my 2020 was probably the worst in my health history that I've ever had, right? But I'm optimistic, I'm positive, and I just wish like everybody that goes through something, that they could always see that it can be better. Like for me, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like I didn't think it was gonna get better. I used to talk to my family about it. I used to talk to my friends about it. The close ones, like especially my family, I used to tell them about it, and then they'd be like, just think positive, you're gonna be okay. You're overthinking. And I'd be like, nah, I'm not. And I kind of almost believed that I was never gonna be okay. Like it was never gonna get better. And I can't really say that there's something specific that has helped me get better. I'm still dealing with it till today. In 2021, the other day I was in Seattle, and my heart just started racing out of nowhere for no reason. And I had to like lay down and do some deep breathing for it to be okay. So, that was that, right? But on the good side, when I look at 2020, there was so much good that happened for me. Like as soon as like the pandemic, it was getting bad. Like there was no time that really got better, but like I was able to start working. I was able to pay my car off. Like I have no car note. Like I own the car. I was able to work on so much. Like even this video I'm shooting in my studio, I was able to like build that. I'm going to get my studio insulated. The heater tomorrow. Like I'm able to do all that stuff. I'm able to think positive. I was able to travel and do some things like to just keep my mind busy. So that's just there's probably so much that I missed on this video of my 2020, but I think my main message that I want everybody to get from this video really is that like no matter what you go through, no matter what it is that you go through, like if you just stay positive, and if it's like physical symptoms like working out, being outgoing and doing things, it really helps you with that stuff, like being less stressed. Because I remember like for me, I would be okay when I'm with people or when I'm doing something, when I'm working, but as soon as I became like I was by myself, then it was bad. But another thing that helped was like when I talked about it, like I literally, whenever I met like somebody, I would just tell them like whatever is going on. Like I didn't understand it, but I would just share it. And I feel like that really helped me to be able to like be okay or heal better. So till today, like I still deal with trauma. I still deal with anxiety, but I'm always reminded, and I remind myself that tough times don't last, but tough people do. And I feel like that's a message I just want to leave you guys with. If you guys want me to talk about like specifically like just anxiety and trauma, like those two things, I can talk about those things on another video. But another thing, there's so much that I feel like I'm missing. I actually started doing therapy. I feel like I'm rushing this video, but there's no point to rush it if I really just want to be as honest as I can be. I started doing therapy, and I would do like one-on-one because I wasn't able to meet with my therapist like in person, so I did online. And therapy is actually can be expensive. Some insurances covers it. I have Kaiser, so they don't really. They do have their own therapist, but they don't cover, like most therapists don't take Kaiser. So luckily the Burn Foundation that I've been a part of for like 10 years was able to help me with a scholarship where they paid for my therapy. And unfortunately I haven't been able to finish it because, with therapy, like, yeah, I talk about it, but at some point, like, I didn't know if, like if it was anxiety. Like I feel like I hadn't believed that that's what it was. So even when we talked about it, I didn't know if it was doing a big difference in my life. But I feel like that's something I'm gonna pick up again for the next maybe 6 months, because they do offer me a scholarship to do that. So I would encourage anyone to do stuff like that. Like if you've dealt with anxiety, stress over or all symptoms in your body that you don't understand, chronic pain, all those things. Therapy does help, exercise does help, and talking about it really helps. And that's what makes the difference about somebody being depressed, like actually becoming depressed and actually having like suicidal thoughts, is not talking about it, like when you keep it to yourself. So I would encourage you to talk about it, share it with people. Try to keep it to people who can help you. Don't just share with anyone, but also sharing with anyone helps you kind of like let it go. Writing it down and maybe throwing it away the paper helps out because you're like letting it go. And your mind knows that. So that's what I would leave you guys with today. I really wanted to drop my video from Seattle because I started New Year in Seattle, but I felt like this would be more helpful if I finished off with this video. And if you enjoyed this video, if it helped you, if you liked it, make sure you like, share, subscribe, share with your friends, whoever is going through whatever they're going through, so that they can be able to, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but so they can know that people go through things and they come out of it better. So again, to wind up, remember, tough times don't last, but tough people last. Peace.
Start having what you ain't had and they'll look at you different. But it don't matter, I'm in my bag, it's getting bigger and bigger. Now the Range Rover Class Sport and stamps on my passport. Never know what tripping, I got everything I asked for. And out here robbing, I try to tell that nigga to